Hello, everyone. It is Thursday, September 8th, and it is officially fall. Probably not officially, but welcome to another Helm Developer weekly call. And again, put any of your items into the document. If you have announcements, discussion points, please feel free to put them into the document. And as always, we follow the CNCF community guidelines. So we'll go ahead and get started. All right. We have, so the first announcement, since Matt cannot make it to the call, is that the release candidate was delayed. However, it should be cut today, latest tomorrow. There's a PR out to merge Kubernetes 125. So until that is done, it cannot be cut. And it looks like the GA is still on track for the 14th. So it will most likely depend on when the RC gets out. So that is the first announcement. If anybody has any questions. Oh, and here's Matt Butcher. Hey, Matt, thanks for joining. Just announcing that the RC should be cut later today or tomorrow. And do you have anything you want to talk about for GA of 310? Okay. And then our next announcement is Karen. Would you like to talk about the Helm Project Pavilion?
Yeah, so we are signed up for a Helm project booth at KubeCon. We are going to be doing half-day shifts, so it will be the PM shifts for each day, and I've listed the hours. I will go ahead in the next week or two, create a spreadsheet so we can figure out booth staffing. And I guess, can I get a sense of who's going? I'm assuming all the speakers who are doing the Helm maintainer talk will be there, but if there's anyone else who can help out at the booth, you don't need to be a maintainer or anything. As long as you're, contributor and active participant in Helm, we would love to have you there. And usually it's just kind of like, it's very casual. People come by and just kind of like ask questions or actually, I know we didn't really ever include on this. We did the Helm survey for the last conference. I don't know if we want to do something similar for this upcoming one, or if there's any call to action we want to figure out for for this upcoming KubeCon. Otherwise, we can just have it be like a, basically office hours.
I think if somebody wants to spearhead a survey, it would be awesome if there was another one, but I cannot volunteer for it right now.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I don't think, I don't know if there's anything different than from what we have captured, or if there's anything new that we would want to capture, given we did the last one, and I don't know that anyone necessarily did anything with it. So let's maybe I don't know if there was a specific goal from the last one that we were hoping to achieve, and if there was, let's at least review the last survey and see if there is something new that we want to capture. The other thing was that I know we kind of talked about if we wanted to, I don't think we're going to do the Helm project meeting, just because it seems like everyone's pretty overbooked on either Monday or Tuesday. But if we want to kind of announce hey, on Tuesday, we're gonna if people want to come and talk about Helm 4, we can just set a time for people to come to the booth and do that. That's an option. But otherwise, yeah, still kind of up to us what we want to do with the time and space.
So quickly, I had two thoughts on that. One is the survey, the last one. So this is going to be for a different audience, North America, different people will be there. It'd be good to capture, just use the same survey and capture more information, and then maybe dedicate a session to going through the results, and whether it's on the weekly call or elsewhere. But since it is a different audience, I think it would be good. Then the second, we had talked in a different meeting about having specific topics during the booth hours instead of the project or the project meeting. And where would that be publicized? Just at the booth, or do we want to do that and have a list of, you know, topics, and then people show up at the booth, maintainers, whomever, for when people want to talk about those topics? Right. I will.
What day is your talk? Is it on the first day, or anyone remember?
Scott, Andrew.
Not offhand.
Okay, because if it's like the first day, then you can share during the talk, like, hey, like for the next, you know, 2 days or whatever, like we'll have these dedicated like hours for specific topics. Otherwise, yeah, I guess it'd be like Slack and Twitter, and like we could put something up at the booth about like of having a schedule.
I guess that makes sense. If there's not enough of a dedicated, yeah, if we're not really, if there's not enough of us that are going to be there, that are free during that time to make use of that room, then maybe yeah, I guess that makes sense not to use that.
Yeah, because I think like between all the pre-days, I think everyone's going to be like either, yeah, yeah. I don't think I can gather any more than like 1 or 2 of you at a time, unfortunately. So yeah, I just checked also the Helm talk will be on Thursday. So it's kind of in the middle of the week. So I mean, yeah, we could either just like preempt, like beforehand, share a schedule like on Twitter, word of mouth, things like that. And you could also share it on Thursday, and that would at least give us, give people some idea of what the schedule would look like on Friday. I guess your talk is Tuesday at 11 a.m. So like you could, yeah, you could get in like a day and a half of the schedule.
That makes sense. Doesn't hurt to reiterate, but yeah, you're right. It shouldn't be the primary place.
Sounds good. And then at the pavilion itself, just have a little sheet or something.
Sounds good. That's it for me.
Okay. I mean, it would be helpful if the maintainers, and, you know, I'm looking at you, Scott and Matt, especially, Mark. I mean, who else is going to be there? So it lined that up around your schedule. Like, what makes sense, even if it's 1 or 2 slots. That'd be awesome. I still have to figure out my own schedule, so.
I think the evening when they do the booth crawl seems to be the most important one to have it staffed up.
That is a great point.
I was just thinking we've requested when there are project members of maintainers of Helm that are overlapping with other CNCF projects, we've requested that those booths be like, hey, can they be kind of nearby? That sounds like we should probably do that again. I don't think we did that yet for this year, right?
Yeah, I don't think we've said anything yet, but we should.
Crustlet, Flux, Helm. Are there any?
There's not going to be a Crustlet booth, so yeah, so probably just like having you at Flux nearby would be helpful. Yeah.
Okay.
Karen, is there already a map of where everybody's going to be?
No, they just had people put in their request for the timing of the day. So I think once they finalize like who wants the AM shifts versus the PM shifts, then they'll do the mapping.
Right,
Yeah, it was nice how it worked out in the past. They don't guarantee that they can do that, but they've been able to so far, so that would be cool again. And if so, I could definitely just fill a lot of those slots because it will be easier for me to, you know.
So there aren't any discussion topics yet, so I'm wondering if we can just brainstorm quickly on what would the topics be for, Scott mentioned before Helm 4, which I'm not sure do we want to go there? I feel like we're kind of struggling right now with getting triage and reviews done. But I mean, it could be an exciting topic to get people to the booth and then, say, hey, we still need, people to help triage and, hey, come join the Helm community.
I think that can be a topic in itself. Like, yeah, like welcoming like potential new triage or like reviewers.
I mean, that's a good one. Say how to. I mean,
Yeah. So I do think that we can have a very easy way for folks to give their thoughts and feedback about their hopes and desires and dreams and maybe, complaints or whatever for Helm 4, but yeah, we can dedicate a lot of the time to saying, hey, yeah, and we still need to get there, right? Help us work through these PRs. The last Kubernetes meeting that focused on Helm, really, it was pretty successful for Helm PRs and the triage role. It was pretty successful so far. A few people came out of that have been doing PR reviews, so that's pretty good. They're not at this meeting right now, but I think that might be on me actually to remind them, hey, that's also part of it, is joining these meetings so you can sort of, let folks know what you've been up to. I'll go ahead and do that. But I agree, we should do more of those because that was pretty successful. It wasn't that hard to do. It was just sort of guiding folks through it. And I think Karen, Andy, and me, I think it was just a good team and people were pretty excited. There's at least 2 people now that said they have gained permission from their companies to focus time on Helm PR triage. One of them's from IBM, and I forget what the other person's from right now, but we'll go ahead and follow up with that role recommendation after the role. Sorry, wow, words. Nomination after a period of time of some consistent PR review.
that's awesome. I mean, hearing
Yes,
updates like
sorry.
that.
Yeah, I was sort of skipping all over the place, but really what I meant to say, TLDR, is I do agree that we could continue that there.
And maybe if you could reach out to them and see if they will be there at KubeCon, and then maybe have them show up at the same time. That'd be a good discussion. Awesome. Thanks, Scott. All right. It looks like Andy, thank you for putting in a discussion topic.
I had forgotten about this one, but I promised the person who opened it I would bring it up at the meeting for them. So I did see that Matt last week asked for a rebase on this PR. I think it's good to go. It seems like a great PR, honestly, that a lot of folks have been asking for. So just throwing that out there for review. But I know Matt's not here, so yeah.
So you're saying that it has been rebased?
Yes.
Okay.
And yeah, tests are passing now. So
If anybody
Matt
wants,
didn't actually review it, so if we could get a review from a maintainer.
okay. Matt or Scott or Mark, or does anybody want to volunteer to review that? He's
Yeah,
been-
I'm trying to. I'm actually trying to authenticate into GitHub right now. So, give me just a second. That's the nice thing about. Anyway, nice thing about those authentication apps. They're more secure, but then it takes a sec. So,
I launched the tests at least.
yeah, yeah, exactly. What is the PR about it in the meantime? If you don't.
Oh, it's so verifying the that the these terms are gonna drop out of my head right now, but the last created generation, I think it is, matches the current one before passing a readiness check, which is probably the right way to do it. From the discussion I saw and looking through the PR, I think it makes a lot of sense. But last applied generation, that's what it is. Somehow, even at 10:30, it's too early to think this hard.
All right, cool. I think I'm verified.
All right, so I guess, Scott, are you volunteering to make sure that it's reviewed?
No. Well, only because not yet, because we may have some other PRs that need to be reviewed first. I don't know how the priority should be, to be honest. So I don't want to say that right this second, just because I could. I will take a look at it, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a full review or make sure that someone else reviews it yet.
So my argument would be that Andy shows up a lot and has been pushing this, and that at some point I feel a prioritization should be given to the people that show up.
That is true.
To be clear, this is not my PR. This is one that I noticed had a lot of support from the community in general, a lot of requests for it being merged, a lot of activity on the original issue reporting it, and it looked like a well put together PR that included tests and achieves the goal that it's looking for. And the maintainer's been very responsive, the originator's been very responsive. So it's the kind of PR I like to see in my own open source repos. And so I like to bubble those up. That does bring up an interesting question, as I've been trying to review PRs more often. Is there a stated policy of prioritization, or like I've really just been going through and like, okay, I can review this one first of all, like I'm literally capable of it, and trying to pick things that just I've been using my best judgment to try to review PRs, and I'm curious if there's some sort of written policy process suggestion. If there's not, that's fine. I just want to make sure I'm not missing something.
There's always the milestones. The ones that are put in the milestones are maybe more interesting because we aim to have them in the release. Although I see there's 28 that are still open for this release, so that's not going to happen. But I think your approach is also very good because you need to cover whatever you can do and you're comfortable and maybe you're interested. And
I've been trying to get a triage party configuration going that actually makes this easier, but I just discovered it like last week, and it's tricky to configure. So,
And I just want to say that we very much appreciate that you are doing PR triage or PR reviews, and it's very appreciated. But I mean, that's an excellent question, prioritization and who picks what goes into the release.
We often do prioritize people that show up and say, hey, can you review this? I guess the only reason I said, no, I'm not going to commit to that right now is only because I wanted to take a look at like, yeah, what we're in the what we're already in the milestones. And, you know, I don't want to preemptively say yes, or, you know, like thoughtlessly say, like commit to something if I'm not really going to be able to do that, or if it wouldn't be fair because we have commitments to like a few other things first or something. But we'll definitely take a look and try. Yeah.
since I'm here, is it also a good time to bring up my hip? Again,
Yeah.
I'm trying not to be a broken record because I feel like I've mentioned it like every week for the last several. But the adding the repository source to the release object, I did take that PR over the hip PR. So it's a little bit confusing in the history because the original proposer doesn't have time to follow it through. So I grabbed his and just addressed a couple of the comments from the original one and put up a new one. So that is out there for review if anybody has a moment or thoughts that they would like to throw at me on that. Happy to discuss it.
Did you put it into the notes?
Yes, I cannot type and talk at the same time somehow, despite the fact that's kind of my job. So.
Awesome. Okay.
Good job, by the way, on bringing in the commits from the original person and then working on top of those. That's something I personally really appreciate because, you know, I think, and probably people that did work, you know, previous work appreciate too.
Yeah, I'm actually really good friends with Luke, who opened the original one. So I definitely want to make sure he had his name on that because it was all his idea really originally, and you know, it is largely in service of some of the open source that we build on top of Helm, but yeah. So. Agreed. Always giving attribution where it belongs.
Yeah, this one looks like it's in really good shape.
Andy's pretty thorough.
Actually, that 90% of it is all Luke. He was very thorough in the original proposal, so I've just been persistent.
Yeah, and I had reviewed the original one, and this looks similar, but the things that were raised before seem to be pretty much resolved.
Was there? Oh, I seem to remember something. I could be wrong about this, but I seem to remember at least
Something about a flag.
conversation about the annotations.
Oh.
Well, because I actually don't see the comments here, so maybe.
Are you talking about the tarball digest changing if the annotations change or if the metadata changes?
I didn't mean that. I meant because yeah, there was a discussion about that, right, about backwards compatibility, just to make sure that. But I initially I was talking about there is the current way that I know of that people do this is right now only using an annotation recommended by Artifact Hub, which is a specific an annotation for the source of where the chart lives, and a number of people are doing that. But that's specific to that
Mhm.
project, and if I remember some of the past conversations about this, it was like, hey, can Helm make a recommendation here to do that? One good thing about, I mean, I'm just thinking maybe this can be, I'll make a little comment about this. But I wanted to voice it real quick because you're on the call and you're asking about it. One positive, one value of having a Helm recommended annotation is that they're all optional anyway, and it would really be more of a standard like other annotations, and that's already an object on the chart.yaml, and so there would be no changes whatsoever to consider.
Right.
So,
So
Just a
the
thought.
problem we've run into with that is that it's very common to fork a chart repo. Even in Artifact Hub, you can find 5 or 6 copies of the most popular charts that have been forked, and that annotation hasn't been modified. And so in the case of, so to be fully transparent, like we have our open source project Nova, it looks for out-of-date Helm charts and recommends new ones for your cluster. And so we cannot reliably trace back to the source of that chart because of all of these forks out there and say for sure, like this chart that you installed has a new version, because maybe you installed it from a fork, or maybe this other fork has a different version available up in Artifact Hub. So that's our real goal here, is that at install time where it came from is in the release object. I do think there are a lot of potential side benefits to supply chain security concerns with the by adding the tarball digest. Obviously, we've discussed other potential issues with that and can be left to implementation, but I do think this has a large amount of value above and beyond annotations for source. So
Yeah, maybe I miss. Sorry. Wow. I'm just. Wouldn't that be the same? Wouldn't that be the same issue if we made a new key in chart.yaml?
right, this isn't to add it to the chart.yaml. This is to add it to the actual release object itself.
Right. Okay. Maybe I'm mixing this up with something else. But where was this supposed to be drawn from?
I have to go read it again.
Okay.
Honestly.
Okay. I'll skim it for that, because that's the one. Okay.
Yeah, and I think there's a potential reference implementation out there as well. So that should have the answer. So.
All right, we're about at time. Do you have a action item following that up? Scott and Andy, are you gonna chat?
I'm
offline?
definitely going to do. Change my mind. I'm definitely going to do, or not change my mind. I'm definitely going to do a review of this hit for sure.
Thank you.
Right now.
I just checked over it and LGTM'd it. So if you add that, then that hits our threshold and we can merge this one. But I had reviewed the very first one thoroughly, and it looks like everything I had brought up was long ago addressed. So
thank you.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Thanks so much. And we just need peer review if somebody wants to put that into the doc. So Scott, I don't know if you want to.
Sure. And if maybe if you're going to be doing some review, Andy, maybe you can be on there as well.
Yeah, I normally put my name on there. I am out. Wait, this Andy or other Andy? Sorry.
I meant Andy S.
Okay. I'm out a couple days between now and the next meeting, so it's unlikely I'll have a lot of time for this particular week. So
sounds good. Yeah, you can add.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks. Bye.